Hi, I'm Robert Tolpe, and today I'm talking about the YouTube parody space during its golden era in the 2010s. While there are certainly some gems from that era, some of the parodies made during that time were not good, and more than a few of them punched down at women, black folks, queer folks, etc. So let's turn the clock back a decade and watch some parodies, shall we? If you are around my age, you might recall coming home from high school or middle school, firing up the computer and watching your favorite music videos on YouTube. Whether it was Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, or Taylor Swift, after you finished a video or when you typed in the title of the video in the search engine, the second or third result for that music video was probably a parody video of it with tens of millions of views. The thumbnails were outrageous, of course, so you had to click on it. And that was probably your first experience with a YouTube music video parody. I'm sure you remember the two main channels that dominated the YouTube parody space, namely Bart Baker and The Key of Awesome. Both channels made parodies about the same music videos, but their styles were so distinct that I often watched both of them. As I returned to these channels after nearly a decade of them never even crossing my mind, I want to explore their impact on a generation whose humor has been shaped by these videos. Let's start with Bart Baker, the self-proclaimed king of YouTube parodies, as he was by far the most popular parodist of the time. His channel today has over 9 million subscribers, and his most viewed video has been viewed over 190 million times. Those numbers might not be jaw-dropping today, with channels such as Mr. Beast getting those numbers regularly, but at the time those numbers were almost unheard of. The only other videos getting that many views were the very music videos Bart was spoofing. This is the reason why Bart Baker's parodies garnered such a large audience. It's because they rode the algorithmic wave of the music videos they were parodying. While Bart's videos were certainly popular, that doesn't mean they were any good. In fact, many were downright awful. Bart Baker's main thing was doing drag parodies of women artists. In his early work, he really didn't center himself as a star of the show. He mostly featured older men in drag in his videos for comedic effect. Check out his 2010 California Girls parody, California Boys, which features elderly gay characters peeping at guys on the beach and acting all creepy. It's pretty filled with infantile potty humor and innuendos that none of us got when we were 12. Besides the fact that literal kids watch this garbage, judging from the comments, overall this parody isn't that harmful. It's definitely playing into stereotypes about older gay men being creepy and predatory, but hey, gay men can be creepy and predatory, and it could be a lot worse. Pushing forward to 2012, he was still doing the old man parody thing. One title from that year really popped out at me, and that's because it has a transphobic slur in it. Oh my goodness. The whole video is not so subtly calling Nicki Minaj a man, and I say a man because that's how transphobes view trans women. But Robert, you misunderstand. You see, Bart Baker says it's not meant to be mean to Nicki Minaj. It's about an entirely different fictional character named after a transphobic slur. Okay then, so what is your creative inspiration for said character? It certainly couldn't be rooted in misogynoir and stereotypes about masculinized, mannish black women. Certainly you aren't writing these lines, Bart, because they're explicitly anti-black. Let's read them. I am a what ho? A what from the hood? I am the what? Sounds like it was written by who? Oh dear. Even if this is a joke or satire, it's really distasteful to say the least. I don't think there's anything wrong with being goofy or funny, but punching down at marginalized communities is not amusing, in my opinion. Well, Bart's Nicki Minaj video was tremendously disrespectful. Nicki Minaj was a grown woman at the time. Because of that, I doubt she was losing any sleep over a YouTube parody, no matter how awful it was. But some of the people Bart parodied were literal kids. Rebecca Black was only 13 when he made a parody of her viral song Friday. At the time, she was receiving threats on her life over the song. To watch a grown man put on a wig and fake mole to mock Rebecca's looks and pimples she had on her face at the time when she filmed the video is uncomfortable. Not to mention the highly inappropriate theme of the video. But of course, there's a disclaimer saying this video is not meant to make fun of Rebecca Black, as if that makes everything peachy. And right below that considerate disclaimer is a link to tweet the video at Rebecca Black. So in the same breath, Bart says his intention is not to insult her, and then proceeds to create a link making it oh so easy for his fan base to harass a 13-year-old on Twitter. Nice. Then there's Bart's Taylor Swift series, where he blames Taylor for every single breakup that she ever went through. That narrative isn't his, though. At that point in time, in the early 2010s, Taylor was the ultimate crazy ex for the tabloids to destroy. Read any article from E! News or TMZ from that time period, and note how they portray every one of her exes as victims of a serial heartbreaker. The language is so loaded. Taylor Swift is so good at breaking up, she's actually learned how to turn a profit on it, earning nearly $1 million after dumping the house she purchased to be closer to her ex-boyfriend Connor Kennedy. The 23-year-old pop star and the 18-year-old One Direction heartthrob have reportedly split up after roughly 2 months of dating. Stop us if you've heard this one, but we're sensing a pattern here. While some of Taylor's relationships were, questionable on her part, like dating an 18-year-old when she was 22. Gee, I wonder why that didn't work out. In hindsight, though, I feel like people were unfair to her back then. The pendulum has swung back the other way these days, and now many of her exes have come under fire for their behavior, so that's good, I guess. What Bart Baker did is bring to life this monster that the press made her out to be and took it to the extreme. I mean, she's literally portrayed as a demon in these videos. The whole joke is more stupid than anything. Not only was it lame to begin with, by the 5th parody with the exact same hackneyed demon joke, people got tired of it. But that didn't stop Bart from making 5 more videos, switching up absolutely nothing. But why would Bart go on like 4 years writing parodies using the same joke? I honestly think he's just bad at writing parodies. His lack of creativity is very evident in his lyrical style. Half of the lyrics in his parodies are just statements about what is happening in the video. When you read the lyrics for his parody of Nicki Minaj's Anaconda, you see just how often he does this. This song is about butts. These girls all have big butts. This video is pretty much just a bunch of big butts. A turntable with fruit. A pink speaker and skull. The irony that 2 lines before that brilliant line, a turntable with fruit, he has the nerve to call Nicki Minaj's lyrics complete and utter crap. His lyrics are just elementary observations of what's going on in the video. And that's the problem with Bart's parodies. Elementary observations are all he's really capable of. It's evident he doesn't really comprehend what's going on. All he sees is a gratuitous display of ass, while everyone else sees a chart-topping woman artist in a space dominated by men, hijacking the old-school video vixen aesthetic and using it to her advantage. When she talks so openly about her sexuality, she's acting no different than many male hip-hop artists. But when she does it, according to Bart, she's a dumb shit, a bitch, and a whore. Misogyny aside, I'm still in shock at how bad these videos are. Surely there's gotta be at least one good one that came out of the parody golden age. Well, there are a few gems, not from Bart Baker though. There was another parody channel called The Key of Awesome. Unlike Bart Baker, they could actually understand the media they were parodying and write clever things about it. While Bart was writing his 29th Demon Taylor Swift meets Pope Francis spectacular, The Key of Awesome was out here making some masterpieces. Their parody of Taylor Swift's "We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together" shows how good writers and comedians can dust off tired tropes about crazy exes and make them funny. Unlike Bart's lazy depiction of a crazy ex where Demon Taylor just screams a lot and hits people, The Key of Awesome's portrayal of Taylor Swift goes all out. Yes, there are similarities between The Key of Awesome's portrayal of Taylor Swift and Bart Baker's, and they do cast Taylor Swift in a quite negative light, but their parody is more nuanced than just saying Taylor Swift bad. While Bart's Taylor character is more of a two-dimensional being of pure evil, The Key of Awesome portrays Taylor as a woman who's genuinely seeking true love, except, she's just insane. One side of her understands and feels the heartbreak of rejection, and the other side of her is oggity, oggity, oggity. The video feels less mean-spirited and more goofy. She's talking to her stuffed animals. She's gnawing on a raw fish Gollum style and trying to blow up her ex-boyfriend's mom. Obviously, the real Taylor Swift doesn't do those things. That's ludicrous. In fact, it's so comical that it almost serves the purpose of showing how ridiculous the media's characterization of her was at the time. While Bart certainly tries to accomplish the same thing by creating this crazy, unrealistic demon character, it doesn't work. It's too grounded. Demon Taylor acts too much like a garden variety manipulative and violent girlfriend. If your character is literally Satan and the best you can do is have her hit people and pretend to be pregnant to take revenge on her ex-boyfriends, then you need to go to a creative writing workshop because that's just boring. While I wouldn't say that the Key of Awesome's Taylor character is completely original, the main thing going for them is that their character is funny. And that is so subjective. But it kind of makes me giggle. Their character is almost endearing, while Bart's character is just awful. And worst of all, not funny, which is really bad if you're making a parody video. That should be your #1 priority. But parodies often accomplish more than just making people laugh. Another purpose parodies can serve is criticizing a public figure or cultural phenomenon. This is something the Key of Awesome does well. There are lines in some of their parodies that you would just never hear in a Bart Baker parody. They're just too poignant. Take Iggy Azalea's verse in their parody of Problem by Ariana Grande. It's a critique of her entire persona and how she rips off black music and mannerisms. One of her lines is, "This is the vocal equivalent of blackface." I think it's important to bring up that Iggy's vocals were performed by Tatiana Owens, who is black. Throughout the Key of Awesome's reign on YouTube, the vast majority of the women pop stars they parodied were voiced by her. She also performed Ariana's vocals in that video. Not only is she a master of impressions, but lines like the blackface one make me wonder if she was involved in the writing as well. I know many of you will scoff at me praising the Key of Awesome so much, but it's hard not to, because when it comes to cleverness and even somewhat good writing in the YouTube parody space, the bar is on the floor. Bart Baker's parody of the same Ariana song is literally just shaming Ariana for being too thin and wearing too short of a skirt. The lyrics have absolutely no flow, and I know I'm one to talk because I sound like a Muppet when I sing, but the vocals are very unpleasant to listen to. They are so harshly pitch corrected, it's grating on the ears. Then there's Bart's Iggy impression. He can't actually do a voice impression of anyone else but himself, but that didn't stop him from trying to sound like Iggy, or at least trying to sound like his version of her, where in the video, her character is a masculine black man cross-dressing as a white woman. It's basically the same white chicks joke from the Key of Awesome's video, but instead of him leaving it as just a one-liner referencing internet memes, Bart decides to run it into the ground and make the joke 1,000 times more transphobic, of course. Clearly, he thinks the entire joke is that people are saying she looks like a cross-dresser, when the joke is more focused on the mismatch between her pasty white exterior and lyrical flow and mannerisms appropriated from black hip-hop artists. Also, King Batch is in the video. You'd expect it to be a creative masterpiece with two of the top comedic minds on the internet in 2014 joining forces to make it, but alas, it was not. But despite it being a bad parody, it got 82 million views. I would wager that the vast majority of those views were from immature middle schoolers watching it back when it came out. All in all, I doubt Bart's audience was a very discerning group of people. It is concerning, though, that many people my age were binge watching this garbage, considering the objectionable material in it. But there's no turning back the clock. As for the YouTube parody golden age, it went defunct forever in favor of advertiser-friendly content. Both the Key of Awesome and Bart Baker have stopped making parodies. While I'm not sure where the barely political crew are now, in a weird twist of fate, Bart Baker went on to be a superstar on Chinese TikTok. That whole story is interesting, but it sounds like a tangent best discussed in a short video on my Patreon. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and also hit that bell. And I hope you have as good of a week as you can in this hellscape that we're living in. Bye-bye!